Can you tell us the story of Nous?
Yeah, Nous again was a Greek god, and he was the god of knowledge. He was the creation god, and so there's a story about how Earth was created, and the belief was that, for example, you had this one God, the creator God, but he actually wanted to create the earth. He wanted to create something. He was bored, is the whole story. And so he creates a demigod, a demiurge, what they call the demiurge. This was the actual creator of the physical world, the creator of matter itself. So he calls on the demiurge. The demiurge comes and creates earth itself. And then they're looking down at it, and the story is that he's so happy, Nous is so happy about his creation that he wants to create a man so that man can look down and see what was created. So he creates man, and I'm speaking of man being man and woman. And man looks down at earth, and man sees the oceans and sees the blue, sees his reflection. He falls in love with earth. Nature, looking back up at man, invites man down. Man goes down to earth. And through that passage, that evolution down into earth, he goes through 7 concentric circles, or 7 rings, or the 7 planets. And this brings into the whole concept of the importance of astrology within those belief systems, within the Greeks, within the Egyptians, because it was an understanding of how we are impacted by the planets. And as we're coming down into our physical form from our ethereal, or what's the word for our ethereal form, where we're mist, where we're spirit, coming into the physical form, we're congealing, we're coagulating into the physical body, and we're taking on the characteristics of the different planets, taking on the negative characteristics of the different planets as we're coming into ourselves as being human. And so what Hermetists believe and Gnostics believe is that our job, our journey, is to travel back up. That's our evolutionary process as far as our existence here. Reincarnation. We come back, we live, we peak, we die, we come back, or at least our spirit does, our energy does. And as we're moving through, our job is to move through those concentric circles, or those planets, and get rid of everything that bound us, get rid of all that energy, everything that was challenging us, everything that was creating problems. We get rid of it, and therefore we move to a place where we're becoming more aware, we're becoming better, we're becoming more understanding of how we operate. And that's our journey through the stars, with the goal of being able to get rid of all of the planetary impacts and then go back into Nous. But because we are of Nous, or at least the all-knowing, the all-mind, and because we were created from him, then we are part of him. So even though we operate within the physical form, we still have the creation, the ability to create in the same way that we were created, because we are part of him. And so that's why when I use the example of the leg and the view disappearing and the consciousness would still be there, truly the only way we create is through our minds. And so we manifest that creation through what we touch, through our physical body, but still it's through the mind that we actually create. And so that goes into the whole Hermetic beliefs and about creativity and about being able to kind of move into it. I think Carl Jung, he was a psychoanalyst of the 19th century, early 20th century, but he was actually a contemporary of Sigmund Freud. So here you've got the chief of all psychoanalysts, and here you've got his closest companion, Carl Jung, who he actually wanted to take over the practice of psychoanalysis. And Carl Jung said, no, I found something else. I found these Gnostic, these Hermetic beliefs that go along directly with psychoanalysis. And he wanted to follow that path. And as a matter of fact, Carl Jung spoke of having this same revelation that this gentleman, Hermetes Trismegistus, had roughly 5, 6, 7, 8,000 deep back in antiquity, had that same journey that he'd gone through, he recognized. And so Carl speaks of this journey, and speaks of his understanding of how even the ancient Egyptians, for example, the whole concept of alchemy and turning a base metal into gold wasn't really about turning a base metal into gold, but for the Egyptians it was about turning non-shiny things into shiny things because they had so many things they wanted to adorn with gold type material so that you can see the brilliance of their creations. So their whole chemical, they were chemists, literally trying to figure out how do I turn whatever I can turn into whatever that is shiny. And it became that metaphor for turning base metals or lead into gold, even though that's part of it. But it was really about turning non-shiny things into shiny things. And the only way Carl Jung believed you could do that would be through the mind. A process known as active imagination, where you can literally move into certain intentions. The Greek word for attention is to give energy to. And so you can apply certain attention to certain things and you can create within your mind to develop that which you can conceive within the conscious mind. And so that was again how Carl Jung had explained the whole experiment or the whole stories of Nous and the process of creation and alchemy. And a lot of people were challenged by that because they believed that he was taking something that was sacred, something that was a religious process, and turning it into something that was non-sacred by saying it was a process of focused mental attention. But again, if you look at it, it is really the only way we can create is through our minds, and then we manifest our creations through our physical form itself. So that's the story of Nous and how Nous kind of ties into our existence here on earth and our divine ability to be able to create because we are part of that creation in itself.